Hi, my name is John.
And my name is Lloyd.
And we're the hosts of The Pint,
a pop culture podcast.
Lloyd, if you had to tell any of the people out there that might be listening to The Pint for the first time about anything unsavory or disconcerting we might do on the show, what would you warn them about?
Well, sometimes we drop spoilers, and sometimes we swear like motherfucking sailors.
Fuck yeah, we do. You heard it from him. You've been warned.
Listen in.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Welcome to the final brand new episode of The Pint in December in the Stars 2025, where we're talking about all movies that take place predominantly in outer space, and also in just 2025 period. That's right. This is the last recording and the last episode. That doesn't always line up. Sometimes we record and then release it later, but this is all happening in one. So that's very exciting. 2025 going right down the tubes. And we're talking about a movie with a year in the title. Let's get into it. Let's talk about 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Let's rock.
My name is John.
And I'm Major Tom. Oh, no, wrong thing. I'm Lloyd.
And I'm Laura.
And we're here to talk about a film from 1968, first of all, which is something we don't touch upon too often. And I actually thought about it today. I saw Laura last week, and she had said that she was going to try maybe next year to start watching some more 60s movies. Mm-hmm. So it kind of fits into the motif here. She's getting a jump start on those 60s movies.
Yes, I have.
All right.
This movie here. So Lloyd, just going to ask, I want to get everybody's, stance on this one in terms of seeing it. You've seen this before, right?
Yeah, I saw it in the movie theaters when it came out.
you were 26, so it does make sense.
I have seen it a number of times. I don't even think I own it, but it's always available somewhere. So
I do. I have the Blu-ray. I have seen it before.
Yeah, I need to get it.
Yeah, I knew I had the DVD for a very long time. And eventually I upgraded to the Blu-ray, which leads me to the question, Laura, do you have my DVD? Because I give you a lot of my older stuff. Was this something you had or no?
I'm not sure because, as you know, we have so many DVDs.
Yeah.
And there's no rhyme or reason to the way we store them. So It's very possible that I have it.
Your physical media situation makes my skin crawl with there's no rhyme or reason. Just that alone is
Trust me, it gets to me too.
Laura,
you can't have things organized without them having some structure, alphabetical or color or whatever. It has
color.
Well, if it's my clothes.
Good Lord. All right.
Clothes by color.
Good Lord. That makes sense. That tracks. Okay. Laura, have you ever seen this before?
I have, but it's been about good 20 years since I've seen it. Okay. I think I was in college the last time I watched it. And so it was like watching it again for the first time. You
were telling me through text that you went to go visit your family for Christmas and they had visceral reactions to this movie. What happened? Yeah,
so I told them that I had to watch this in order to do the podcast with you guys. And I said I was planning on waiting until everybody went to sleep because I figured there would be no interest in my family to watch it. But my dad seemed really excited to watch it. So he's like, oh, no, we'll all sit down as a family and watch it. So we sat down. It was me, my mom, and my sister. Vinny was like, I'm going to take a nap and I'm going to go upstairs and I'll come down in a little while. He slept through the entire thing and even beyond the movie. So
he's still there.
Long nap. Yeah, he's probably still sleeping somewhere. My mom, about probably a good half hour, 45 minutes in, just gets up abruptly. She's like, I don't like this movie. I'm going upstairs. And my sister sat on the couch, not even looking at the screen the entire time, just looking at her phone, complaining about all the noises that the movie was making. So it was pretty much just me and my dad watching the movie.
The Blue Danube Waltz is a noise to your sister, and just drove her nuts. What's that other one? Also, what is it, Lloyd? I don't even know.
I have it written down.
Yeah, I didn't write down the song, but
Also Sprock Zarathustra.
Yeah, the noises that Laura's sister couldn't handle.
Yeah, she
maybe a few ape sounds in there too.
Yeah, and they're not even apes. I looked it up. Arethathelines or something. It's a whole thing. I actually bought. I got an email yesterday morning, and I'm a slave to commerce. The email said, Barnes and Noble, last day for our 25% off sale. So me and Heather were going to go grocery shopping yesterday, and I said, we have to go to Barnes and Noble. And she's very pragmatic and straightforward. And she's like, do we really have to go there? I'm like, well, they sent me something saying things are on sale. And she's like, we have a lot of books. And I went, let's go. We're going to go. So,
yeah, that's just like me.
Yeah. So we went, and I looked for something to buy. I bought her a book, and I looked for myself, and I couldn't really find anything. And then I ran across the novel of 2001, A Space Odyssey. And I said, you know what? It's 228 pages. So if I am going to read a book, that's like the perfect length. I actually read the first 8 pages yesterday, and I read the whole, the first part of the opening Dawn of Man sequence. But, yeah, so I'm excited to read the book, and I do have some of the information about the book and the screenplay here, as we always do. So let's get into it. After Stanley Kubrick made Dr. Strangelove, he told the folks at MGM that he was working with that his next movie was going to be a space movie. By the way, mad shout out to the old school MGM logo, that blue and white lion.
Oh, yeah.
That was fucking, I mean, I know the one with the lion roaring is classic and everything, but that blue and white one, it's fucking dope. Like, I would get that tattooed somewhere. It was so fucking cool.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Tattoo.
Yeah. So 2001: A Space Odyssey came out in the US on April 3rd, 1968. It was announced initially as Journey Beyond the Stars in 1965 when Stanley Kubrick started the process of wanting to make this space movie. He told them he wanted to make a space movie, but with no story or idea. He just wanted to make a space movie. So if you know him, you know that he made The Shining, which we talked about earlier this year. One of my favorite movies that I haven't seen in a few years, but I used to love it, A Clockwork Orange. It's a hardcore movie. And Full Metal Jacket, a couple things he made. He reached out to his co-writer, who was a novelist, Arthur C. Clarke. And Arthur C. Clarke sold Stanley Kubrick 6 short stories that they thought they might be able to make a story, screenplay work out for this film. And he didn't want any of them. He sold them all back to Arthur C. Clarke. Eventually they agreed on 1951's The Sentinel, which is a short story. Now, this is where I get all screwed up because I always thought that it was 2001: A Space Odyssey was the book based off the screenplay. This is where it gets crazy. The book and the screenplay were written by both guys at the same time. Mm-hmm. In the end, Arthur C. Clarke took full credit for the book. They co-credited on the screenplay. The book came out after the movie. So there are things in the book that Arthur C. Clarke expelled upon that he felt made more sense than what we saw in the movie that Kubrick didn't want in the script. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to read the book. So it's also, let me see here. Where is it? Also elements of Clarke's 1953 short story called Encounter in the Dawn were used as well. Arthur C. Clarke, very famous science fiction writer. But if you're interested in the 2001 stories, there is also 2010, Odyssey 2. That's the book. There was a movie, 2010, The Year We Make Contact. 2061, Odyssey 3. And then 3001, The Final Odyssey. Those ran for many years. He also wrote a book that's been in like developmental hell in terms of movie-wise called Rendezvous with Rama in 1973, another science fiction book. Morgan Freeman was attached to produce in it and star at one point. David Fincher was supposed to direct it at one point. Denis Villeneuve is the current guy who's been working on it, but not a whole lot has happened with it since then. So that's kind of some of Arthur C. Clarke's stuff there. Here's a couple things that are different in the book and or original version of the screenplay or stuff that was cut out. And the first one is just mind-boggling. The jogging scene in the beginning of the movie. where Frank Poole is jogging and throwing fucking phantom punches, was originally filmed and screened at 11 minutes long.
Oh my God.
He runs through the entire ship, and it's dialogueless, and MGM, who at that point Kubrick was, a well-known director, but I don't think he had the clout he had within the next couple of years. They were like, no.
No, you already had 18 minutes of monkeys.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised though that scene was filmed for that long.
Yeah, no, I could actually see it in my head. I could see it. There were 17 minutes that were cut completely of the movie that were found in like 2005 in a salt mine in Kansas, I think, or somewhere around there. Douglas Trumbull, who we'll talk about in a minute, verified it, but it has never been released to the public, and nobody's ever seen it in terms of like there's no DVD or Blu-ray or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Different monolith in the first scene and throughout the movie. It was a pyramid structure that was like glass in nature, and they were having a hard time filming it. It was reflecting too much light, so they went to the black, colorless, rectangle monolith style. They had to change Saturn to Jupiter due to FX issues. That sounds familiar, Lloyd. Where does that sound familiar from?
Yeah, sure does. Yeah, we just talked about that in with that tree movie. What the fuck was the name?
Silent Running.
Yeah, Silent Running.
Silent Running.
I love trees so hard.
He does. He fucking Bruce Dern in trees forever. In Silent Running, Douglas Trumbull was able to make Saturn look good. He couldn't do it several years earlier. So in the beginning of the movie, we'll get to it in a second, but the monkey, whatever he is, throws a bone up in the sky, and it flips around, and then very famously, it becomes a spaceship in terms of like an edit and then a cut to we're in outer space now. I've always thought it was a spaceship. It is not a spaceship. In the story, and it was mostly cut out of the movie, but it's in the novel, there is a series of satellites orbiting the Earth, each one from a different country. The one that we see, I believe, in the movie is the US's. There's I think a Korean, a China, a Russian. Those are nuclear satellites that, if there were a nuclear war, they would launch from there. So that's what that is. So I guess the idea is, now it makes more sense, is we go from the first weapon ever used to possibly the last weapon that'll ever be used. Mm-hmm. Now, in the end of the book, the Star Child, which again we'll get to, blows up all of the nuclear satellites around the Earth. He doesn't do shit in this. He just kind of stares like this. That baby looks just like Keir Dullea. That baby looks just like that actor. It's fucking creepy. And there's a higher focus in the original script and in the book on the nuclear conflicts. Now, I mentioned Douglas Trumbull. He directed the film Silent Running we did last week. He was one of 4 SFX heads on this film. His biggest contribution in this movie is the end. There's something that's called the Starfield scene.
Split screen
photography. So he basically came up with this method of filming landscapes and then making them look negative. And you've seen the movie, you know what it is, but it's just a very trippy way to kind of show multiple things on screen at once, I guess.
I watched a whole video on how that's created. It was so interesting.
Yeah. So what is the slit? Like what?
So, all right, there's a black panel. Let's just say a black metal sheet, and it has a vertical slit. I don't know, for the sake of the movie, it was probably like 4 feet long and a quarter-inch wide or whatever. But it's just a skinny slit. And behind that panel, there's transparent art, a big, long rail of transparent art, bigger than the slit. Behind that, there's a light. So the light shines through the transparent art, through the slit. And then in front of the slit, there's a rail leading up to the slit, and a camera is put on that rail. So the camera moves towards and away from the slit with the, what do you call it? The aperture open.
Aperture, yeah.
Open during the whole time. So as it goes up and back, it takes like a minute or whatever. They move the camera up and back, and then they shift the transparent art behind it for the next move up and back. And each move up and back, it gives you like maybe 10 seconds of film.
That's crazy.
It's a very long process because it's a very long piece of art and they're getting every little section of it. And it gives you that effect of that split screen where it's coming out on either side of the Stargate.
Like a tunnel almost, yeah.
Yeah, like a vertical tunnel, yep.
All of the effects in this movie, by the way, are in camera. Like it's matte paintings like crazy. The whole bit in the beginning where we're in Africa with the apes and all of those weird. What are those animals? What were those?
I don't know what they're called.
Tapirs.
What was it again?
Tapirs.
Okay.
Tapirs.
All right. Heather knew that too.
Tapirs.
Heather knew it too. She's like, tapirs. I'm like, what fucking planet am I on?
Basically, they're humans, though. They're all humans.
No, those animals. No. I think the apes are, but those little hippopotami thing.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Okay, I'd never heard of those before. And I hadn't seen this in 15 years, so it was like, what are those things? There's no aliens in this movie, and you have Carl Sagan to thank for that. Basically, they consulted Carl Sagan and said, if we decide to put alien beings in this film, like if we want to showcase what this intelligence is, what should we do? And he said, first of all, don't make them terrestrial-like, because if aliens exist, they're not going to be bipedal. They're not going to look like us in any way, shape, or form. So he suggested that if you are going to use them at all, he said you basically want to just depict it as some kind of intelligence, which in this movie it is. We don't ever see anything if there is an alien. If you want to consider the monolith alien or alien construction, then that's why we don't see it. All right. So that's some of the production we can talk about that all day long, but we're going to move on with Manster to the cast of this film.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Yeah, we could talk for maybe 5 minutes about the cast.
Yeah.
Like you said, I looked up how to pronounce this guy's name. It's Keir Dullea as Dr. David Bowman. He's in The Thin Red Line. These are a lot of older movies. Black Christmas, which we know and love.
I watched Black Christmas 2 days before I watched this, and I think I have the distinction of being like the latest person on earth to watch 2 Keir Dullea movies in 2 days' time.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
100% accurate. He played Peter the boyfriend, right, in that movie.
Yeah, he's the piano recital angry at her for having an abortion boyfriend. Yeah.
Yeah. Also Blind Date, and he reprised his, I guess, voice, right, in 2010.
No, he's in it.
Remake contract. Oh, okay. Physically, he's in it?
Yeah.
It's been so long since I saw that one. And also in The Good Shepherd and other movies. But, a lot of the people I'm going to say in a lot of movies I'm going to say, probably no one knows them. All right. So moving on to Gary Lockwood as Dr. Frank Poole. He was a stuntman and a stand-in for Anthony Perkins before his acting debut. He was I didn't recognize any of the films really, but he was in Gunsmoke, Star Trek, the original series, Barnaby Jones, Mission Impossible, a lot of those kind of TV shows, $6 Million Man and Bionic Woman. Then we have William Sylvester as Dr. Haywood Floyd. He was a star of a lot of British B movies and was never again cast in any prominent role after this one.
Really?
Yeah, never again. He was just always small parts and maybe supporting roles. He seemed like he could definitely be a movie guy. Like
he was pretty good.
Yeah,
I liked him. I thought the acting was good in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have Daniel Richter as Moonwatcher.
Yeah.
He was the man ape, the chief man ape, the guy with the bone. He was from Darien, Connecticut. And basically he was unknown at the time, working as a mime in London. And Kubrick made him basically responsible for choreographing the whole Dawn of Man sequence and believed that Richter could move the film beyond the Hollywood cliches of a man in a monkey suit.
Look, let's just be honest right now. Those monkey suits for 1968, the facial expressions, I don't know, man. I thought that was really fucking good.
I thought that looked awesome.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I picture some people might, just because it's older, be like, oh, it doesn't look, that looks fucking good. Because, and I read something about it where they were talking about how Planet of the Apes is the same year. But Planet of the Apes, there's no point where you ever question whether those are people or apes. You're like, those are people. Right. This movie, if you really sat me down and said, John, those were like some kind of like fucking monkey, and they just filmed them long enough to get them to do the things that they wanted them to do, I would believe it. Because I mean, obviously the babies are actual chimpanzees. There's a scene where they're holding a couple babies. Those were actual chimpanzees, but those fucking SFX for those costumes was phenomenal.
Yeah. At first, I thought, damn, those are some good acting monkeys.
I'm not lying.
I was like, it can't be a monkey. It can't be a monkey.
Right. You would have had to.
Possibly me.
It'd be like that monkeys, typewriter monkey thing that eventually they'll write a novel. It's the same idea. Like if Stanley Kubrick filmed these, 12 monkeys for like 17 million reels of film, eventually he'd get them to do all the things he kind of hoped they would do. But no, it's just guys in monkey suits.
One thing that tripped me up a lot was when that leopard leaps off the ledge.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And attacks the guy. I was just like, that's a guy in there. Do they have a trained leopard?
Yeah.
A trained leopard, maybe clawless. Who knows?
Yeah, that was crazy to me.
A trained leopard with fucking laser beam eyes, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like, there's nothing more scary than a leopard with laser beam eyes. One of my favorite pictures of all time that I ever took of my dog, Indiana, was just a random picture I took of her barking at me in the kitchen. And when I looked at the picture, it had this like laser beam effect, like diamonds, like just the way the picture was taken. And I'm like, that's fucking dope. She's a laser beam dog.
Maybe that's actually there, but you can only see it when you take a picture of it.
That's very possible.
Yes.
God, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah. So one more thing about Daniel Richter. He appeared in the John Lennon and Yoko Ono 1972 Imagine video. And I guess in 2019, he was interviewed on some website, and he claimed he supplied heroin to John and Yoko in '69 while the Beatles were recording.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, that's his other claim to fame.
They broke up in '70, so this guy...
He's right at the end.
This piece of shit monkey broke up the Beatles. Well, the question of, was it Paul? Was it John? No, it was the monkey from 2001.
Monkey Man. So then we have Leonard Rossiter as Dr. Andrei Smilsov, and I don't think they ever mentioned his name in the movie, but...
I just have to say this real quick. Did anybody else think that this was Ralph Fiennes in, like makeup or something? His voice and his mannerisms were exactly like Ralph Fiennes. Huh. I said it to Heather, and then she picked up on it. Like, if you watch this movie again and just say to yourself, this is time-traveling Ralph Fiennes, it sounds like him doing a voice. It's crazy.
I'll have to check it out. I didn't notice, but... Leonard Rossiter, he was the Russian scientist trying to glean some more information because he just didn't believe Dr. Floyd. He was also in Barry Lyndon in the Pink Panther Strikes Again. And since he is British, he was also in the Avengers British TV series.
Yeah, of course. They all are. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you two more. You got Margaret Tyzak as Alina. She is the female Russian scientist. She was also in A Clockwork Orange, Match Point, and then the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Okay.
Which did not feature, our boy River Phoenix.
No, that was Sean
Flattery?
Sean Flannery. Sean Patrick Flannery.
Like
Sean Patrick Flannery. Yeah.
And then finally, you can't talk about 2001 Space Odyssey without mentioning Douglas Rain as the voice of HAL 9000. He was just a Canadian stage actor, but best known for that smooth voice as HAL.
So I didn't write down what it was, but when Kubrick was looking for ideas to make a science fiction movie, there was a Canadian produced, I believe, space documentary film that Douglas Rain was the narrator of, and he liked his voice and he used him. And Douglas Rain also comes back for 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hal's back. Hal's back, motherfuckers.
2010, Hal's back.
And that was multi award winning or nominated too.
I don't think so. I think it was more.
I think it was nominated.
Maybe, but not. I don't think for anything real serious. Like I think
Okay.
maybe like Saturn Awards or something like that.
Okay. And that's it for cast. There's really not much more than that.
All right, Laura. Let's talk about the Dawn of Man sequence. Bunch of monkey men, apparently one that broke the Beatles up. What's their daily life look like, and what do they encounter? Who do they encounter, and how does it all resolve?
Well, essentially, we see them as starting off as herbivores. They're fighting with the tapirs for food. They're gathering the food alongside of them. There is a rival monkey tribe that is beating them out of the way of the water hole. Like they seem kind of like the beta tribe, and the other tribe is the alpha tribe.
Right.
Yeah.
And they hide in a little cave and they sleep. They just seem like the world is beating them down.
Yeah, it's sad.
They're just eating vegetables. Well, not vegetables, grass or bushes.
Yeah, I started reading the book, and it gets very heavily into that in the first 10 pages, how like they're just dying at night. Like the Moonwatcher one, his father dies overnight. But he, in the narration, it's like he wouldn't know it's his father anyways, but they're all getting emaciated, and then they drag them out at night, and then they go back the next day and they're gone because the hyenas ate them. So yeah, they much shorter segment here, but yeah, we see that they're just struggling to survive. Day after day, they have to compete with these tapirs for their food, and they have to compete with this other tribe for water and for food as well. Manster, they wake up one morning, and what the fuck is happening in their little corner of the world?
Yeah. So after they get run out of their watering hole, they wake up the next morning, and all of a sudden there's just this big black monolith, right, like where it wasn't there the night before.
Right.
And it's about 11 feet tall. I don't know, like 4 feet wide or something like that. And it's just big and black, and that's it. And they're a little disturbed by it, so they start jumping around and hooting and hollering and reaching for it and pulling their hands back and trying to test it out. And eventually, they touch it, and I guess the guy who touches it first is Moonwatcher, and then I don't know if is it the same day where he picks up the bone and realizes he can use it as a tool. He starts banging other things and realizing he can crush things with it. So that was the first part of his evolution. And then the next one was the next time that Alpha Tribe comes around, he's able to beat them down with the bone.
They beat that one fucking guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were smashing him.
They just kicked the shit out of him. And yeah, so it is... There's the question that, I guess this movie poses right off the bat at the beginning and it poses it through the whole thing. And it's unanswerable really in the end, because even Stanley Kubrick says there's not supposed to be an answer. But Laura, what do you think? Now, I know we're doing this early, but I just want to kind of get a feeling. What is the monolith? What is it trying to do? Is it pushing us towards evolution?
My interpretation of it, and through just doing research on the movie and agreeing with what others have said, essentially it's kind of like benchmarks to push through evolution. It's supposed to, it gives knowledge that helps facilitate evolution.
So these monkey people, this group that were the first to get to this monolith, were going to die. And then it basically gives him the idea of using this bone as a weapon. As soon as he gets that bone and realizes after he beats the fuck out of that carcass of that animal, he's just gone thug life. Right?
Yeah. He's thug life.
He gets a tattoo across his gut that's in a rainbow shape, thug life. Right. And he's just going to take, whatever he has to do to get food. And we see them
eating like kings now.
Yeah. They eat the tapirs, and and then they savagely beat this fucking one member of this other crew to death. We don't see, but I'm assuming the next thing would be either killing the rest of them or making them come into their fold.
Yeah.
But we also get Manster, and you love the music so much. This movie is benchmarked by different bits of music in different points. This movie starts, this is maybe the third movie we've ever done on the Pint, Star Trek: The Motion Picture,
Mm-hmm.
The Black Hole, which I did with Larry, that starts off with a overture, right? This movie starts with like 2 minutes of blank screen, just with some music playing.
Yeah, at least. It's just black before you get even any credits or anything.
Right. And then in this scene, right, this is where we get the also spracht, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Insert German word here, while he's doing all of this. And then, as I mentioned before, he throws the bone up into the sky, and it goes flipping up into the sky, and we see the actual blue sky, of our Earth. And then, boom, next thing we know, we're in space, and the bone has kind of transitioned to this nuclear satellite. Manster, from this point, was where we meet Haywood Floyd. What's he doing?
He is on his way to the moon eventually, I think, but he's going to a space station, Space Station 5, I believe it is. And we just get a lot of space scenes. There's still not a lot of dialogue. I don't think there's dialogue in this movie till like the 23-minute mark.
25.
Like 25.
25.
Yeah, it's crazy, but everything to me anyway is beautiful. Just the music you hear, the effects, the space, whether you have the stark whiteness of the ship inside or the darkness of space. It's just so gorgeous. But yeah, he's on his way eventually to the moon, but he's stopping at the space station. We learn a lot of things. We learn how a toilet and zero gravity works. If you can pause and zoom in, I guess.
I love the fact. So like we get the mundane, I guess, nature of space travel, right? Like we watch a stewardess like preparing meals and doing a zero gravity flip to bring it to the cockpit, and it's we're not pressing it here on the show, but this movie is very deliberately paced. Very deliberately paced. This is a movie that, like, I could see definitely certain people just being like, fuck this, I'm not doing this. We see all the stuff that's going on, and I think one of the funniest bits in the movie, and I mean, there's not really any humor in the movie, is Haywood Floyd, like, with his hand, right on his chin, reading the zero gravity toilet.
And there's so many rules, and each rule is like 2 paragraphs long.
Yeah.
I would piss myself, probably.
Yeah, me too. I thought about that. I thought about, like, if he were to say, like, how much longer is this flight? And they were like an hour and 20 minutes, I would be like, I'm holding it. I'm gonna go. Yeah. I'm gonna go on the space station where hopefully they have positive gravity toilets. I don't even know what the fuck the opposite is of a zero gravity toilet, but so he does. He lands on the space station. It looks so many things in this movie. I know this sounds weird, but I feel because even though it's 1968, right, and this thing was produced in like 66 and 67. I didn't even mention all that. I'll go back to that. But everything looks like IKEA almost. Everything's like super bright white and like the red furniture on the space station. What the fuck were those chairs? Everything is very
comfortable.
Velcro booties.
I would sit in that chair.
See, I thought opposite. I thought those chairs looked like they would be very difficult to sit on or navigate. But he goes and he meets up with the liaison he's going to be working with there. He stops by to have a video conference call with his daughter, who wants nothing more than a bush baby, which I had to look up. A bush baby is like almost like a sugar glidery type animal. It's a marsupial type thing. The daughter, by the way, Manster, do you know who the daughter was?
No, I didn't catch that.
Stanley Kubrick's daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe her name is Vivian.
Yeah, Vivian.
Yeah.
Yep, Vivian Kubrick. Okay. So yeah, he talks to his daughter, and then as he's going to, I think he has breakfast, and when he comes out, he meets up with these Russian scientists. Laura, they have a conversation. The Russian scientists, one of them, the woman, is very cordial with him, but the guy, Ray Fiennes, is pressing him.
Once Haywood tells him, like, yeah, I'm going to Clavius, Wood kind of perks up, and he's like, oh, there's weird stuff going over there. Can you tell me about that? And he's like, weird stuff, what weird stuff? And he's saying that they lost communication and that apparently there's an epidemic spreading through the station or something. And the guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Fuck off. Being very evasive basically about it.
I like how he does that like very adult thing where he's like, I can't comment on any of that.
Right. Like, I'm not at liberty to say.
Not at liberty to discuss. That not when you say I'm not, like, I know the the Russian guy is being very forthright with like wanting to know what's happening, and he's kind of being a little pushy. But like when you drop in, like, I'm not at liberty to discuss that, this is no longer a friendly conversation. This
No,
is,
yeah.
if I were talking to somebody about something and they said, I'm not at liberty to discuss that, I would immediately feel pushed out of that conversation. I had a friend years and years ago who I was very close with, and he was a physical therapist. He wasn't a doctor, but he worked with patients with doctors. One time we were talking and he had mentioned to me, I don't even remember how, but he had mentioned to me that someone that we knew was someone that he knew, that I had known was a patient of his, that he had worked with her on stuff. And, I said to him, I was like, oh yeah, because my sister was friends with her. I said, my sister said she like, fell down a flight of stairs and really screwed up her leg. And he's like, I can't really talk to you about that. And because it was like doctor patient-y type stuff. Yeah. So I remember feeling like I was having this friendly conversation and then I got professional out of it. Like, so that's how I feel about that when people say stuff like that. Yeah. So
it was very indicative of the Cold War, back in those days, the U.S. and the Soviet.
Right.
Yeah, because that was right in the middle of the space race.
Yeah, it was right in the middle,
We didn't go to the moon until a year after this movie came out. So just the fact that the Russians and the Americans were conversing in a friendly manner was kind of, I thought that was a nice little, this is the future. Russians and Americans working kind of alongside each other, but not together.
Right. So they mentioned that there is a possibility of an epidemic. We'll call it Clavius 19, if you want, OG, original COVID, OC.
Wouldn't it be Clavius 01 or Clavius 1999?
No, because COVID-19 didn't happen in 19, right? It happened in 20. Like, I never understood why. Like, it's the variant number.
It happened in 19.
It was identified in 19.
Oh, okay. Was that why it was called 19? I always thought it was just a strain.
An arbitrary number.
No, I thought it was a strain. Like, it was the 19. COVID-18 wasn't so bad. COVID-19, oh shit, it's back. COVID-19, the return of Hal. So he ends up telling him can't talk about it. He goes and ends up on a spaceship heading to this, he goes to a meeting. He gets up in front of everybody at this meeting and he tells them right off the bat that this is a cover story, the epidemic. I don't like the cover story. I don't like lying to people about it. And I understand none of you do. But if any of you do tell anybody about this cover story, you're fucking fired. Like he's very much like he's the boss, right? He's up there.
Then we'll throw you out of the airlock.
Yeah, we're going to de-airlock you. It's going to be rough. So, eventually they end up him and two other guys end up heading off to Clavius, and the base is on the crater of Tycho on the moon. And, they're enjoying some square ham sandwiches on the ride. It's like
little turkey, little ham.
Little crustless. They have their crusts cut off.
Like, I saw that.
As grown men,
they look so dry.
Do you think their mommies did that? Like they flew their mommies to the moon to cut the crust. I know how you like your ham, Haywood. I'm gonna just chop it up here for you, you big fucking baby. So they're heading there, and they mention in discussion, and I think they mentioned it during the
in the brief.
Manster, what is actually happening? What's going on here?
The truth is that they have found an artifact that was buried 40 feet below the lunar surface near this crater, Tycho, and it is another black monolith identical to the one like 1 million years ago with the apes.
So another one of these monoliths, and has been put there. They're very specific about it. Wasn't like this has been put there by somebody or something. Something buried it. It's only 40 feet down. And we get this great, I guess it's a combination of matte painting and set and they have the little lights set up around it, Manster. And I thought about Silent Running with the little lights.
Oh, yeah. The tree lights.
The tree lights that were going to keep the whole fucking thing going for the end of time. They have the little lights set up and they go and they check it out. And it's, just these three guys and they're
a lot of chanting.
Well, yeah, there's like a little bit of soundtrack chanting. You get some noises here and there, but then all of a sudden, Laura, like, what happens with this thing?
It lets out this piercing screech.
It's annoying. It's
that like it almost doubles over all of the men that are standing in front of it, and that was one of the noises that bothered my sister, apparently.
I can't blame her. I had to
Yeah.
as we were watching it, I was like, haven't seen this in a while. I hope this isn't like more than like a minute of this sound, because Echo is going to start freaking out. But it's fairly cut off fairly quickly, because we make the next jump, and the next jump is 18 months from that point on. Now I have a question, and this is a question I posed to Heather because I'd never thought about it before. What time period is 2001 in this movie? Is it them, Haywood Floyd, on the moon, or them in space? Because it's 18 months later. It can't be the same year.
I believe it's them in space, because that's the Space Odyssey.
Okay.
That's their journey to Jupiter is the Odyssey.
That's
That's
fucking
it.
makes sense. I never
Even if that's not right, that is canon now.
if that wasn't the answer, it is now. We
It is,
made it
yeah.
that answer. Okay. All right.
Fuck whatever Kubrick was trying to say.
Exactly. So yeah, we're 18 months later. We're in this very long ship with a spherical
And- I'll mention as well. There's a series of things that line up in the beginning of the movie during the credits, right? The planets and the sun and the moon,
right.
and you're getting the same thing here with the monolith and the sun and the moon. And it's the first time the sun has shined on this monolith, right? I guess it seems like that's what made the noise happen.
Oh, right. That shot you get from below where you see everything
Yeah.
lining up. Yeah, it's used multiple times.
Yeah,
Because it's used at the end of the movie too.
right.
Correct.
It's a solar-powered monolith.
Maybe. That'd be cool. I'd buy one of those. Sharper Image, if they had it. I'd get one of
Right.
those. A Sharper Image still exists. If not, Brookstone, maybe. Brookstone.
I don't think either of those still exist.
I used to love those places, man. When I was a kid and we'd go to like a mall, I'd be like, I'm going right in there. I'm going to go in one of those
I'm going to
massage
Sharper
chairs.
Image.
Yeah. I'm going to go in Sharper Image. My parents and my dad, I think, used to get the Sharper Image catalog. And
Yeah.
I'd look through it and I'd be like, God damn, man, this is like James Bond shit. It wasn't. It was all stupid.
Right. I want a
Have a
portfolio with like a hand warmer built into it.
Yeah. Oh, I could go through all my notes in such comfort now. So Discovery is flying towards Jupiter. We meet the crew. The crew is two guys that are awake, two doctors, Dr. David Bowman and Dr. Frank Poole. Frank Poole is jogging in the beginning, and we have this great set that is, Lloyd, I'm sure you did because you know so much about all these things. Did you look up like how this whole thing worked? Was it a gyroscope or something?
I did. It was a giant spinning thing, and they had a contraption set up. The camera was on the opposite side of the runner, and there's all kinds of craziness going on. I didn't take any notes, but I read about it a while back.
So yeah, Frank Poole is running around. He's doing these phantom fucking boxing punches. And I notice immediately, there's these three sarcophagi type things. These white, they look like mummy sarcophaguses with like little faceplates. Laura, who's in those?
Those are the three other doctors. They're in suspended hibernation or whatever the term for that was. And they're going to wake up when they get close to the destination of Jupiter.
Right. David Bowman, he comes out while Frank is doing his exercises, and they share a dinner together. I thought this was interesting. As David Bowman is crawling out of the part of the ship he's in, and he goes over to get his food because the way the set was situated at that time, the actor who plays Frank Poole, who's sitting there eating, is strapped in so that like he can be at the angle he's at, and it's, the 0G stuff still makes sense. I didn't write his name down, but it was I think Norwegian architect came up with the trays and the forks and other utensils they use. You could buy those. Like you can go to a website and buy those long fucking weird forks that they're eating their slop with. That's exactly what their food looks like. It
seemed very IKEA-like.
That's one of the IKEA things. Like there's things in this. It's very, so sometimes in movies, like they talk about like, like Star Wars, like when Luke's on Tatooine, it has like this kind of like junky, dirty aesthetic. This is all like kind of pristine cleanliness. Like everything is just very ship shape, white. And when there are colors, they're prime, like the three, the suits, red, yellow, blue, you know what I mean? Like it's all kind of very stark and very red out there at you.
Very sterile.
And then we get something that is like the precursor to a fucking iPad.
iPad, yeah.
they're watching the news, BBC News, talking about them and interviewing them on this iPad, which is just kind of crazy. This is 1968. I mean, I get the idea, but
I thought it was pretty interesting too, because it's clearly exposition, just to bring us up to speed as to what this mission is. But I think it was done pretty well.
yeah,
And yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at it, I'm like, that is a 1968 iPad. It's like
Yeah.
identical.
it's crazy. Laura, we talk a little bit about in this scene through an interview with the astronauts and also with himself, HAL 9000. What is HAL? What's he doing? What's his job here?
HAL is a supercomputer that is pretty much running all the functions on the ship. He is this latest version of HAL is known to have never made a mistake, no errors. He's pretty much what is supposed to be perfect, and he kind of just runs every process on the ship, and also kind of human in the way that he converses with the interviewers or the crew members, and kind of like in an unnerving way almost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely got a thing. Like we get to a point in the movie where something on the ship goes wrong and he immediately accrues it to human error. There's no chance it could have been him. Now, human error could also, I guess, be categorized as a human creating this AI that is failing. That's human error, but he doesn't look at it that way. I didn't think this while watching it, but I thought about it afterwards when I read it. But there is a definite difference in how Frank and Dave converse with Hal. Frank treats him like a robot or a AI, and he's very curt with him. And Dave is very polite to him at all points, even to the point, and we'll get to it in a minute, open the pod bay doors, please, Hal. Like, he says please to him a lot. He plays chess with him. He does things with him that we don't see Frank do, which will play into the story in a little bit.
And he also critiques his artwork, too.
Yeah. Dave does little sketches, and Hal wants to see them.
Yeah, like he treats him like a friend.
Right.
Instead of almost an employee, kind of.
Right.
Is it the interviewer on the iPad video that asks him if he feels like Hal has real emotions?
Yes. Yeah. And he tells him,
I think that's where, and he says he acts like he does, although it is in his programming.
And Laura mentioned something that's very important to this movie, which just seems like too much confidence in machinery, but Hal is integral to every function on this ship, that's scary to think, like, that there's almost nothing that the humans can easily do without him, and it's going to prove to be a problem pretty soon.
Yeah. And one other thing too is Hal has the iconic look, man. If you look these days, you just imagine a security camera that you see in a bank, just a big black dome, but this one's red and it has a yellow empty spot right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And
it's
it
very
fills
ominous.
up the whole screen. Very ominous.
Mm-hmm.
In the original idea for putting this movie together, they wanted Hal to be, I don't know if it was Kubrick or Clark, to be like a android that was the computer, but also had a body and was on the ship. And they said it would be more unnerving if it was just this red eye. And they worked that into the story. And it works way better. Like, if Hal was like Huey, Dewey, or Louie from Silent Running, it would have been goofy. Even if he was like an R2-D2 or some bipedal droid, it would have been like, because then you'd be like, well, okay, I see the physical danger here.
Right, exactly.
You don't see the physical danger with Hal until you realize that he controls every aspect of this fucking thing.
Yep.
So Hal realizes that one of the communication devices on the ship is malfunctioning. Dave
is about to malfunction.
Is about
not
to
even
malfunction.
malfunctioning yet. Yeah.
But, wait, before we get there, I think there's something important to mention.
Sure.
Hal and Dave, after they play chess and then he, talks about his artwork, they have a little discussion. And Hal is sort of noting that Dave seems to have concerns about the mission.
Yeah.
And so this is where the seed of everything, I think, is planted, because it's during this conversation that we learn that Hal sort of has feelings, like suspicions about something.
Right.
And that leads to everything that comes, because he's like, just a moment. Because he's like concocting something in his mind at that moment, I think.
Well, I have a question to ask you guys about that, because do you think that was Hal genuinely saying, like, I think there's something weird about this, like something feels off, or do you think that he was trying to see if, to go to the end of the movie real quick, he knows like the secret mission?
Right.
Do you think he was trying to get some information to see if Dave knew or thought anything about the secret mission?
I think so, because like we saw the movie, so we know, but we don't know watching the movie just yet that there
Yeah.
is a secrecy that Hal knows about.
Mhm.
And so he's now questioning, he's got like two sides that he's like trying to put together.
Yeah, I don't know if he's trying to feel out Dave, but I do know that I think what I was reading about in the book is that the definitive answer as to why Hal starts to lose his control is because the secret is weighing on, however that works. The secret is fucking with his ability to operate correctly. So he knows what we'll get to in a second. But in the book, they say that's what caused the error, is that he has this extra level that he has to keep away from Dave and Frank. But, I don't know if they say it in the movie, but I think in the book, the astronauts that are in hibernation know as well what the real mission is.
Oh,
only Dave and Frank don't.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And that's why they're in hibernation, because they're only needed for that last part.
Yep.
So, yeah. So Hal determines something's wrong, possibly going to become wrong with like an antenna structure. Dave goes out in one of the EVAs, which are very cool little pods with like these awesome little little snapper arms. He goes out, he grabs it, he brings it back in. They look at it and they're like, nothing wrong with this bitch.
When Dave goes out there, he jumps from his pod to the antenna. And who knows how far that is? Like, there's no tether. Were you guys freaked out by that?
Yeah.
I was saying that is one of my biggest fears, is to get lost in space, to just be propelled out into nothingness. I know that there's probably a 99.9% chance that's never going to happen to me, because I'm not going to go into space, but it scares the shit out of me, the thought of it happening.
Laura, I believe in you, but I love the fact that you left like a little bit of percentage that you
that
might go into space at some point.
Nothing is impossible.
Yes, I like that. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's a scene in the first movie we did for this month. I did with Mike Wallace, Europa Report, where one of the astronauts gets untethered and it's shown from his POV. He's got a camera in his helmet and he's just floating away. And you hear he's like breathing heavily because he knows, like, you're going to die out there fairly quickly, but like you're just floating away. Like, that's got to be fucking crazy.
Alone forever.
All right. So, Manster, nothing's wrong with this thing. So this is where the astronauts, the doctors, start to have a real conversation. And Dave knows that Hal has already been poking around about this. So he doesn't even try to be coy about it. He's like, I need you to come to the EVA. I noticed something was wrong with the comms in there. Right. And now I'll tell you what, we know that Hal is being a little weird. And you said, did you get a little scared when, he jumped? The part I got scared in, even though I know that doesn't happen in this movie, is if you thought Hal might be malfunctioning or acting weird, would you get into that fucking pod without your suits or anything? Because they go in the pod to like secretly talk about Hal. And in my head, I'm like, man, he could just jettison these two motherfuckers.
Right.
They have a conversation. They shut all the comms off. What do they talk about, Manster? And who's watching and what happens?
Yeah. So basically, Hal wants them to go put the bad part back because it's not bad and see if it fails. So like you said, Dave goes in there and they even tell Hal to turn the pod 180 degrees.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they were
just
doing
that
it
alone is suspicious,
right.
for Hal. But yeah, so no, they get in there and they just start talking, and Dave turns off all the communications on the inside, turns off all the switches, and then just starts talking. He's like, hey, something's wrong with Hal. He's malfunctioning. We got to figure out how to shut him down. And they're just talking for a minute. And then you see from Hal's perspective through the window, and then Hal's focus goes right on their mouths. And so, at that point as a viewer, he knows what they're saying. But they have no idea.
So Kubrick had some initial reservations about this scene because he thought AI is not advanced enough yet to be able to read lips. And one of the AI, or I guess computer experts, told them we're heading that way. At that point in 68, he's like, it's going to happen. So go ahead and do it because it'll make sense for the time period. The only thing people complain about real lip readers is that they're from the side.
Right.
Not straight on. And they said that even trained lip readers have a hard time from the side. But one of the things they say while they're talking is if they do shut Hal down, they've got to figure out how to do it correctly because he's integrated into so many important functions of the ship that they would have to go into his programming and shut things down that he, or figure out how to operate things that he is not that, I guess that could be done without him.
Right.
They get out. They've already talked to Mission Control about this whole thing because Mission Control had told them, okay, well, hook it back up again and, we'll wait it out. And Mission Control out loud is like, we think that it's an error on your HAL 9000s.
Yeah.
Like Mission Control is not in on the secrecy of them talking behind Hal's fucking back. The guy at Mission Control is just like, yeah, your robot's a fucking dumbass piece of shit. And they're like, keep it down. They're like, our HAL 9000, be cool, bro. And they're like, our HAL 9000 down here in Houston, which by the way is the smartest HAL 9000 there is. He says your HAL 9000 is a fucking imbecile.
Yeah, we gave you the backup.
He's just straight up denying it, right, Laura? He's like, I don't think it could have been me. The odds are not really that good that it could have been me.
No, yeah, it almost kind of seems as if he has an ego.
Yeah.
He's like, it couldn't possibly be my fault. It's your fault. It's human error. It's something somebody else did, which, again, makes the AI more human.
Right. So where do we get Frank out there? Is he going to put the thing back up?
Before this, we have intermission.
Oh, right.
That's when we all got up to pee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or take more drugs to.
Yeah, I did a little research. I'm like, how long was intermission? They said there was no set time, but it could have been anywhere from like 10 to like 30 minutes.
Yeah, because this movie was 2 hours.
People had to go have a smoke. It was 1968. You could smoke in the theaters, and
men had to go get their suits pressed,
Yeah, right.
I'll be right back.
Slap their wives.
I gotta go. I'll be right back, honey. I've got to go home and slap my wife and then have my suit martinized. Oh, and then have a cool Marlboro.
And a dirty martini.
Yeah. So the intermission's pretty quick, at least on the home video version. Yeah, you're right. Probably in theaters, it's probably 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
So we come back and Frank is taking the EVA out to set up the, that antenna piece again, and we don't even really see it, but as he's out there, does Hal take control of his EVA or send another one out there?
We don't see it. So yeah, Dr. Poole goes out there and we see most of his mission, but then as he releases from the pod to the, antenna, it sort of just goes. You see the pod turn around and start moving, and then it just cuts to Dave's perspective.
And you see Frank,
and then you see Frank just go flying.
You see Frank flying with his airline popping out of the back of his suit, and he's just kicking. He's like his arms, his legs. He's just like, and Dave is like
trying to do the breaststroke to get back.
And Dave is in, and I said this like out loud while watching this. Dave is in such a rush. He tells Hal, what's happening, and then he runs to his EVA to go out and catch Frank. Yeah. But as he's doing it, I'm saying to myself, you forgot your fucking helmet, bro.
Yeah.
Because he does. He does not have a helmet on. He runs out, he gets in, and then he takes off after Frank. He eventually catches up to Frank, but Frank's not there anymore. Frank, unfortunately.
Frank's long gone.
Frank's long gone. Dave manages to use his monkey grabbers to grab onto Frank's body and then head back to the Discovery. But this is where I guess the shit really kind of hits the fan. Laura, he wants to get in, but what's going on here?
I was just like, I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
There's
one of the most iconic lines in all of cinema. Like it almost like gave me like a little jolt, like to hear it in its natural setting instead of just like in clips and stuff. But yeah he's holding Frank's body, and it's just like laying there limp, and he's just like, let me the fuck in. And he's like, nope, I'm not going to let you in here. You guys were talking about me behind my back.
Doesn't pay to talk shit, does it, Dave?
Yeah.
And you ain't got, and he even tells him too, because Dave is like very calm at first, because this all starts when he goes back to the ship, the door doesn't open, and there's like a good like minute of silence, like where Dave's just waiting, and Dave's saying, open the pod bay door, Hal, and there's no answer. And Hal on like the 5th try is like, nah, ain't happening, bitch.
Yeah.
So Hal is like, you can't come in. Like, I think he says something like maybe like your behavior jeopardizes the mission or something like that. And then Dave is like, okay, well, I'm going to come in through the emergency airlock. And Hal's like, you forgot your helmet. And then Dave is like, shit, I forgot my helmet. So we saw this early in the movie. I think they made it a point to like show you several times on the EVA, but Explosive Bolts, which is a great name for a band, by the way. If you use it, you don't have to pay me. Explosive Bolts. So Dave positions the EVA. He lets fucking Frank go, which, he just
he has to. He needs the grabbers. He needs the monkey grabber.
Needs the grabbers. Positions himself. And what does he use the grabbers to hold on to something in the ship, or
he holds on to some little dials, and he's one dial spins and it opens the door manually.
Right. He opens the door manually. He positions the back of the EVA to that door, and then we get this really cool shot from inside the airlock where it's not sealed. And we've seen this in other movies before where, you could make it like, 10 seconds, with no pressurization in the vacuum of space. And he blows the bolts off of that fucking thing, and he gets sucked into the fucking airlock, bounces off the fucking inner door, back out, almost out, and he manages to grab the actual handle he needs to pump shut. Like he grabs that handle, and then we see the box and it says emergency door closure or whatever. He hits it, the door shuts, and we don't see him come out of the airlock. We just see the next scene's a cut to him with he has a red spacesuit on. He has a green helmet on, like he's found another helmet. And he is now the Terminator from 1984's The Terminator. And he is just walking with fucking soul, determination, and precision at one thing. Laura, what's he walking towards?
He's walking towards to disassemble Hal.
Yep.
Like he wants to. I don't know what these little
they call it the logic memory center.
Yes. Like, so he has to pull things out to slowly make Hal just go away and non-functional.
Now, Laura, I'm going to ask you, because I know you, Laura. I'm not going to say cried, but when Hal's losing his mind and slowly dying, you were sad, weren't you?
Oh my God, when he was slowly singing that Daisy song, I was just like, aw.
Yeah.
That is kind of, he wasn't that bad, was he?
Well, he did murder a dude 8 minutes before, but.
Well, he murdered 4 people.
So, I have a question for Laura.
Mm-hmm.
So, Laura, you're a fan of New Order, right?
Yes.
Do you have the album Substance? It's kind of their greatest hits. It's all white.
I don't have any of my CDs anymore, and I don't think I have that on vinyl.
Oh, okay.
So I just have digital version of it.
Fun fact, New Order Substance is the very first CD I ever owned, probably 2 or 3 years before I even owned a CD player.
I thought you were going to say 2 or 3 years before CD players were invented. Yeah, you somehow got a CD.
They were invented, but I didn't have one yet. Anyway, that's all their greatest hits. And one of the, it was an extra disc of hits. One was called Murder. There's a song in there called Murder. It's mostly instrumental, but it also has My Mind is Going. My mind is going. I can feel it. And it's the whole conversation from Hal to Dave.
Yeah.
And with this music, this beat that is really crazy. Like I said, the song's Murder, and it's fantastic. And every time I hear that song, it's like they're intertwined in the movie, and I kind of wish the music was in the movie, but it's not, obviously. And he's like, I'm afraid, Dave. I'm afraid. My mind is going. I can feel it.
Yeah.
It's
so intense.
It's a heavy scene. And Laura mentioned it, and we skipped past it. But after he kills Frank, he also kills all of the 3 hibernating doctors as well. He terminates their life functions.
Yeah, you're slowly seeing them flatline.
Right.
Which is just...
brain activity, heart, cardio, all that stuff. You start to see everything flatline. So he's murdered, 4 people at this point. So he's not a good dude, but, you know, confused maybe the secret pushed him there. Dave is slowly pulling these clear panels out that are obviously parts of his programming. And yeah, his voice is getting slow. And then he sings the Daisy song, which is also, I guess, called Bicycle for Two.
Yeah.
Because that was the first song he was taught upon his birthday, which was in 1992 at the factory in Urbana, Illinois. And he was taught by does he say Dr. Langley or something like that?
It was something like that, yeah.
And the first thing he taught him was a song. And of course, this is 2001. I think everybody knows this, but you got to say it for doing the episode. HAL, HAL is IBM. It's just all the letters preceding. So yeah, Hal's dead now. But as soon as Hal pretty much flatlines, a video starts playing. Manster, what is the video?
Mm-hmm. So the video is from the previous Dr. Haywood Floyd, basically explaining what the mission is. The whole thing about going to Jupiter and finding the source, or not the source, but where that transmission was pointed at.
Right, because that transmission that Haywood Floyd was there for, that noise that went off, was a shot from the monolith, a radio signal that was going to another monolith that is somewhere on or orbiting Jupiter. They don't know that until Dave kind of gets there, but they know that the radio signal is heading towards Jupiter, and I think it's moon of Io in particular. I don't know if that's a fact. Yeah, okay. That's definitely a plot point from the second movie. I couldn't remember if they said it in this one or not. So yeah. Now my question was, and this might seem silly because I just watched this movie a couple nights ago. Did Dave and Frank did they have an idea of what their mission? I know they didn't know that this was the mission, but did they have an idea of what their mission was? Do they ever say it's to see if there was life on Mars or life on Jupiter or something like that?
I don't remember anything like that.
I got the impression that they thought it was more of a research mission.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because they never really, they're finding out what the mission was now, but they never really said what the cover was or what they were told it was. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So he basically says that, I think the last line of dialogue is that the origin is unknown, what this beam is. And that's it. That's the end of dialogue for this movie. For the next 23 minutes. Right. we're going to be pretty silent. And, what is the name of the last segment?
So the last segment is Jupiter and Beyond the Infinite.
This is where, if you were in 1968 and you liked, I don't know, acid, maybe this might be where you put a drop on your tongue, or maybe 10 minutes before this. Because
during the intermission.
Yeah, maybe that's what the intermission was for.
Yeah.
Maybe they timed it out. Maybe Timothy Leary knew that it was 17 minutes for it to really hit you hard or something.
Yeah.
Because Dave gets into one of the EVAs. Now, none of this is explained. They're close to Jupiter, but why is he leaving the ship? We don't know any of that. Is the ship dead because Hal is dead now? Now, in 2010, spoiler for the movie, the ship is still orbiting Jupiter and it is abandoned and dead. So maybe Dave knew that this thing can't be restart. I can't do anything with it.
Well, there is a reason that he leaves the ship. It's because Hal sucked all of the oxygen out of the ship. You can hear the air being sucked out of the ship.
Oh shit.
So the ship isn't habitable anymore.
Okay. All right. I did not realize that.
Get off of it. Yeah.
Okay. So he gets off. We get these visuals of Jupiter, its moon, and then we've got a monolith kind of floating around there. We get another one of those shots of the sun, the moon, Jupiter's moon, Jupiter, the monolith. And Dave just starts to fucking trip balls through space and time. He is going through this, what was it? The Starfield, is it called again?
Stargate.
The Stargate. No Kurt Russell, no James Spader.
And the Stargate is the monolith, right?
I think so. This is the point of the show. This is the point of the show where I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to act smart. I'm not going to try to tell you that I know what happens throughout the rest of this, because I don't think Stanley Kubrick truly knows what happens through the rest of this. But yeah, we get a trip show where he's going through the monolith, let's say. And one of my favorite bits of this is, at first it starts with his helmet and the lights. And then we get a good long 7, 8, 9, 10, 46-minute scene of different, I guess,
it's just psychedelic
imagery.
Yeah. Tunnel. Yeah.
But my favorite bits in this are when it would be a quick shot of Dave's face like this.
No.
Yeah. He's got his mouth open. He's got
a lot
his face
of shaking.
Yeah. Traveling through this thing, this lasts for a little bit. This is where in 1968 people were probably freaking out. I do know I did read that during one of the earliest showings, and I can only imagine it was probably some hippie, probably some dude that was on something. He just got up out of his seat in one of the theaters and was screaming, "It's God!" And like they had to like escort him out.
Oh my god.
Hippies.
Yeah, fucking hippies is right. So yeah, he trips through this thing, and Laura, where does he end up at the end of this little Stargate thing?
He ends up in this room that seems to be manufactured to look like what it would look like on Earth, but there's something off about it. Like, it's very stark.
Mhm.
It looks like a room on Earth, but it's not. But
like
us as
from,
people,
like-
can tell.
Like Louis the 14th times.
Yeah,
Or
Yeah.
whatever.
nothing
Louis
comfortable.
the 16th.
So like I found a little clip on YouTube of Stanley Kubrick explaining the end of it. It's like just like a little minute long blurb. I can't really validate how real it was, but I assumed that it was actually him talking about it. But apparently it was supposed to be like a human zoo almost.
I read that too.
These
Yeah.
beings to observe Dave as like he goes through his entire life, pretty much.
Right, because Dave shows up. He's in this very weird looking room that has a bed and has a little table, and it is very, like Lloyd said, like very,
Weird French.
yeah, French 1646. And
Yeah.
he's in a spacesuit, but when we see him, he's older. He's
Mhm.
gotten older. And then he notices across the way, there's a dude with his back to him, just sitting there, eating a meal, very silently eating a meal. And then the dude, apparently, we feel that he knows someone's behind him, and he turns around and he looks, and he kind of, I think, gets up and kind of looks at, but we don't see Dave there at this point.
So,
but
yeah,
this
I
is
think
Dave.
It's Dave. He's experiencing all these things. It's
Right.
not like he's standing there watching it. He's actually
Right.
all these things at
He,
once.
he was in the spacesuit older than he was when he left Jupiter or left Discovery. Now he's a bit older
In a bathrobe.
in a bathrobe eating, like, just, I'm sure it's a good meal, but just, he's just very prim and proper, and it just looks like it's not fun. There's nothing fun. There's no SpaghettiOs on that plate. He's just, kind of cutting things and eating them. Gets up, he looks, and then he turns and looks and he sees a bed. Manster, what's on the bed?
Well, nothing's on the. Well, yeah. All right, I'm sorry. It's him just as an old man.
Yeah, and he's
But again,
he's-
it's all disjointed and nothing's really linear. But yeah, he's a very old man laying on his bed, just sort of, you could tell he's on his dying deathbed. And while he's there, he looks forward, and all of a sudden the monolith is right in front of his bed. It's huge, it's like 11 feet tall. So the ceilings of this thing are huge.
Yeah. He's staring at it, and then he's clearly dying. He's staring at the monolith, and then he just reaches out at it. He's never going to be able to touch it. He's so far away and so old. I think then we go to a shot from the monolith's point of view, basically.
Yeah, right. Yep.
And then there's a goddamn giant star fetus on the bed. So now Dave is gone, and now Star Fetus is there on the bed. And we're like, oh, okay, so now there's a fucking space baby. And then we start getting and we shoot to outer space.
Right. The view goes right through the monolith.
Yeah. We go right through the monolith. We go to outer space. We got the Earth. Got the giant blue orb of the Earth on the right side of the screen. And then the creepiest fucking space baby you've ever seen. Inside its own, kind of
Amniotic sac.
amniotic
Yeah, there you
star
go.
sac, right? And it's in there. And I mentioned it early in the episode, but Laura, right? This thing looks like fucking Care Delay. This, they made this thing, I believe that's a baby of him.
Yeah, that's what I assumed it was. He dies and then is reborn. I think a lot of themes of the movie, there's a lot of birthdays in the movies mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So this is him, the last one. This is the rebirth, the last birthday almost.
I feel like, we'll talk about this in our rating, but I feel like maybe the evolution idea we mentioned, how everything is the next evolutionary step. This baby is the next evolutionary step. But unfortunately, we're not going to find out, because We see the Earth, we see the baby, we focus on the baby. The movie fucking ends. The movie ends. I guarantee somebody in 1968 the theater was like, what the actual fuck? But that's it. That is 1968's 2001, A Space Odyssey. Manster, do you have any box office information on this? I know it was 68, so even the year of 68, whatever you got.
Yes, I absolutely do.
Where's the money? When are you going to get the money? Why aren't you getting the money now? And so on. So please, the money.
So for the budget, I had $10.5 to $12 million, which is actually about $4.5 million over the planned budget. And I also did a little conversion. That equals around 100 million in 2025 money.
Holy cow.
Right? The special effects alone reportedly cost $6.5 million. This is in 1968. That's crazy. And one other thing I saw, there was a lot of notable walkouts. Like you already brought up a couple things. Movie star Rock Hudson famously said, "Will someone tell me what the hell this is about?" Like during the screening. That's hilarious. Domestically, it made about 58 million. I found some conflicting numbers, but it's about 58 million. Worldwide was about 146 million, which is good. I mean, it made back more than 10 times its production budget. Pretty amazing. In the top 5 movies in 68, number 5 was Romeo and Juliet, 38.9. Number 4 was Bullet, Steve McQueen movie, 42.3. Number 3 was The Odd Couple at 44.5. Number 2 I got is 2001, and number 1 was Funny Girl, the Barbara Streisand movie, 58.5 million.
I would have thought it was Planet of the Apes because that was the same year, and that was a pretty...
Yeah, I think these are movies actually released in 68. I think maybe Planet of the Apes was released at the end of 67. I'm not sure.
Okay, I think it's 68, but yeah.
I might be wrong, but yeah. So that's it for the budget.
All right. Before we get out of box office, I want to make an addendum to the production stuff because I forgot. This was filmed between December of 65 and July of 66. I think there was some reshoot stuff or additional shooting between August and October of 67. And it was filmed on the Isle of Harris in Scotland, Orongo, Namibia, which is where the original Dawn of Man stuff was filmed, MGM British Studios in Hertfordshire, and Monument Valley, Arizona. So a little addendum. I forgot to read that off earlier. Let's rate this fucking thing.
You gentlemen seen your midterm grades yet?
Well, they're not posted yet, sir.
I've seen them.
0 to 5, 0 being the worst thing ever, 5 being the best thing ever, quarter and half scale optional. Now, before we start, we've got some of our Pint Insiders, the best folks on earth. Go to patreon.com/thepint, $2.50 a month. You get at least 2 extra episodes every month, just about. And to prove that, this year, in 2025, I got out 24 episodes. We're going to start off with the Manster's beloved Candy. I asked them what they thought of this film. Here's what Candy said. This was my first time watching Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey in its entirety. Parentheses, compliments of my Manster. Aww.
Oh, that's sweet.
Aww.
And I completely understand why it is considered his masterpiece. Kubrick absolutely redefined the science fiction genre with his groundbreaking aesthetics and outstanding combination of technology, philosophical components, and on and on. While it was a bit slow for me, and I'm not sure if I would watch it again in the near future, I totally appreciate and admire this film for its profound and lasting influence. 3.5 stars from Candy. Manster, who's next?
I got Chris Ramirez, and we got Short and Sweet. It's a good movie, but I was never a fan of the Star Child weirdness at the end. Also 3.5.
3.5. Julio Mendoza, co-host of The Contrarians, one of my favorite podcasts and a good friend. Let's rate this thing. 3.5 stars. It's too slow, man. And let's be real, the ending doesn't make a lick of sense if you haven't read the book. Fair.
Okay. Then we have some different viewpoints. Mike Simonetta, an absolute spectacle. One has to enter ready to sit and turn yourself over to Kubrick, or you will bounce right off this masterpiece. The visuals are sublime and paired with the perfect classical soundtrack. You sit mesmerized. This is every bit as amazing now as it was in 1968. How many movies can say that? 5.0, the best science fiction movie ever made.
All right. Now I'm getting a little nervous with my rating. Finally, we have Keith Larson from Geek Time TV. Love you, Keith. Great guy. Love it. I know today's audiences can barely sit through a complete TikTok video, but this is a Stanley Kubrick masterpiece. It's got warnings of AI and machine sentience, questions of the origins of life, and the accurate portrayal of the silent vacuum of space. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. That is
totally.
This movie has a lot of bombastic music in the soundtrack, but like it's quiet overall. Don't ask Laura's sister about that though.
No.
But best of all, the amazing visual effects by the legendary pioneer of VFX himself, Doug Trumbull, hold up to anything we see today and give real scope and physics to the behemoth space vessels. I first saw this at 12 years old, and I still have some visceral and questioning reaction to it. This is a truly great science fiction film. This is truly great science fiction with emphasis on the science woven into the fiction. All right.
Yeah.
That was, good stuff. Thank you guys. As always, we'll throw these out every few episodes. Laura, ladies first, Redheaded Stranger. What do you give 1968's 2001: A Space Odyssey?
I absolutely love this movie and I'm floored by it. So this gets one of my very rare 5 stars. 5 stars, right? Yeah. I got confused on the rating for a second. 5 stars. Yeah. Honestly, to me, this movie is pretty perfect. It's my love of horror kind of overshadows how much I really love sci-fi movies. And like Mike said in his review, best sci-fi movie ever made. It's vastness and also it's kind of suffocating at the same time. It's a gorgeous movie. The soundtrack, the way that it juxtaposes being in space versus being like on Earth or on a spaceship, like just the nervousness of the music, all the small little things that Kubrick adds into it, like how the apes stand more upright once they touch the monolith. Like that's actually something my dad pointed out to me that I didn't notice on my first viewing. Like the way that when they're in the meeting, Haywood kind of like makes the gesture of a monolith. Like it's just like little things that he dropped in that made it really real, and it makes it feel almost relatable. Like it, I don't know, but at the same time, the ending and the strangeness of it just makes it so confusing and great. And I love that in a movie. I love a slow, confusing movie. So this is just honestly like you can't really get much better than this, I think.
All right, Manster, I'll go to you next.
Well, so many people ahead of me has already said like everything that I wanted to say. Kubrick is a master visual storyteller, and as much as I love The Shining, this is like shines above that. It's definitely one of the best and most influential films ever made. You do have to be prepared for its deliberate pacing, like you said earlier, and its metaphysical sort of philosophy going on here. Because if you're not into that, there's nothing here for you. For crying out loud, it's 25 minutes before you get any dialogue at the beginning, and the whole last 20 minutes has no dialogue either. And there's big chunks in the middle also with no dialogue. So this is the visual medium. He does such a good job. Like Mike said, you just have to let this movie take you. You can't resist it, or else it's not for you. It's not a blockbuster. There's no action. It's cerebral. It's profound. It's amazing design and special effects. And even after more than 50 years, it still holds up today. I mean, this was made in the 1968. It's 2025 right now. And these effects are like the best you're going to see. That slit scan technology that Doug Trumbull came up with for the gate, that's still used. Like a version of that is used now. Now it's just digital, but this is what we know as like speed of light, right? Anything in Star Wars and Star Trek, it's all based on this. And the AI and the technology like predicted in this film, like 1968, and we saw iPads. I mean, that's amazing. It's got the themes of evolution, technology, artificial intelligence, extraterrestrial intervention. Everything in here is like thought provoking. It's just made to like make you go, wow, like maybe there's so much more than just what we see here. So, and the more times I watch this film, I've seen it probably half a dozen times now. I appreciate it more each and every time. Even the absurd ending, it's so open to interpretation. Maybe not so much in the book, because like you said, it talks about blowing up those satellites and having peace, but it's open to interpretation. We make of it what we think. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, this is one where I feel like I have to look at this a little bit differently, because I often have an issue with movies that I feel like their intentions aren't like laid out there. And this movie, this movie by design is meant for us to say, well, I think this is what the monolith is. And I think this is what this is. And the ending, I think this is what happens. And even if the ending, like, if it is the next version of man and evolution, nothing happens with it. It just ends. So, there's a part of me that thinks, well, there's no closure or finality to this story. But I have to look at all of the things this movie does over that. As we mentioned, the music used in this is incredible. The use of the music to certain scenes is, super memorable. The special effects, the model work, the costume work, everything. And I don't just mean the monkey costumes. I mean, like, the spacesuits are iconic. The ship is iconic. Everything is iconic about this visually. Good performances. Nobody's bad in this. Like, so yeah, Kubrick, he put together this movie, and somehow it has defied all logic to not look like it's from 1968 and 2025. Star Wars, which was made in 1977, which I love, looks like it was made in 1977. Today, it still looks like 1977. This movie somehow feels like it's current. And it's kind of hard to describe that other than just the standard of effects and sets and the focus on in-camera special effects and stuff. It's a 5. It's a 5. And I feel like this is the kind of movie that I wouldn't normally give a 5 to based on some of the story things, like maybe, the ending being weird and the 10-minute sequence where he's going through the Stargate goes on a little bit long. But I'm still like just kind of fascinated by everything that's kind of happened up to this point. So I'm going to give it a 5. I thought about this long and hard because I'm like, it's a 4.5 or 4.75. But I think I have to give this movie a 5 based on the artistry of the movie itself.
Yep.
Right. And also, it also has influenced everything afterwards, everything afterwards. Kubrick went on to make a few more masterpiece movies, Clockwork Orange, The Shining, Doug Trumbull. We talked about Silent Running. It wasn't a great movie, but like the effects and the sets and everything, incredible. He worked on Star Trek: The Motion Picture. This guy has also, kind of laid out a path. So yeah, it's a 5 based on the artistry. It's a good watch. It's 2 hours and 28 minutes long, and I wasn't looking at my phone or the clock or anything. I was pretty involved in it. Laura, I wanted to ask you because your entire family left the room, but your dad did not. What did your dad think? Did your dad enjoy this? Has he seen it before?
My dad loves sci-fi. I think I get a lot of my love of sci-fi from him, and we were excitedly talking about it afterwards. And he's like, "What do you think that meant?" Like, and he's like, "Did you catch this? Like, did you see that?" Like, my dad definitely. I don't know if he would give it a 5, but definitely high 4.5 or 4.75 for my dad. My sister probably gave it a 0, and so did my mom.
Well, we know what side of the family Laura leans on, apparently. She's, All right, well, that is it for December in the Stars. We're going to go back to Earth next month in January of 2026. It's also it for 2025. Laura, thank you for being our last co-host for the year of 2025.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Always great to have you here. And I have to mention, because we haven't mentioned it on the show, but Laura, myself, Vinny, and Heather, we do our trivia thing first Wednesday night at Best Video in Hamden for the last couple of years. And they had a tournament of champions where they had a 3-month cumulative total, and we fucking won.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we fucking
I knew
won.
it.
We did. We tied the first month with this other team, this other like dark horse team that kind of came out of nowhere and really proved to be a challenge. We tied with them. And then the next month they beat us. And it was looking a little dour. And I've got to say, none of these guys listen to this show. We kicked the shit out of them in the last month. We decimated them in the last month. So
I was trying to get him and Vinny to be a little bit more humble about it.
Yeah, I couldn't. This one, I stepped back a little bit, thought about it, and thought, we fucking beat those guys. So
I got us, and our prize was the Riker action figure, which currently resides on a shelf in mine and Vinny's home. Yep, and will be eventually passed on to you for you to display in your home, and we're gonna just pass it back and forth forever.
That's right.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's right, William Riker. That's absolutely it. Great time. Manster, where can they find us?
I'm sorry, John. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Fair. We don't need to tell them this time. Can you say see ya, Manster?
See you, Manster.
Talk to you in 26, bitches.
Bye-bye.
It's over, Johnny. It's over! Nothing is over! Nothing! You just don't turn it off!